Why being fully built out is actually the most dangerous phase of your business. If you're a home service business who's invested heavily in your equipment, whether it's with trucks or tools or even your crews and insurance, and you're technically capable of handling far more work than you're currently doing, then this video is probably going to hit a little closer to the home than you expect, because one of the most dangerous phases of any business isn't when you're just starting out. It's not when you're small. It's not when you're figuring things out. It's when you're actually fully built out and you have all these expenses, but the work isn't flowing consistently. And what makes this stage so risky is that most business owners don't realize how exposed they actually are until they're already in it. So this invisible trap, when you're already built out, it's extremely a tough spot to be in. And I talk to business owners every single week who tell me the same thing. This is what they say. They'll say, we're ready for more work. We've got all the equipment. We've got the crew. We can handle it. And on paper, yes, they're right. The trucks are there, whether they have lifts or different machines or different things are paid for or at least financed. The crew knows what they're doing. And from the outside, it looks like a strong operation. But from behind the scenes, there can still be some tension, because here's the part that nobody warns you about. Equipment doesn't stop costing money just because it's parked. Crews still need payroll. Insurance doesn't pause. Loan payments don't care if the phone doesn't ring. And when work slows down, that pressure, it doesn't disappear. It actually concentrates and compounds. And every quiet day, it feels heavier than the last one. So why does this phase of business feel so confusing? What makes it especially dangerous is because of that exact reason, how confusing it can be. Because you're not failing as a business, and it's not like you're brand new or inexperienced. You didn't make like reckless decisions or anything. It's not like you mismanaged the business. In fact, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. You reinvested profits into the business. You scaled your capacity. You prepared for growth and did that responsible thing. But no one ever tells you this one thing, that capacity without demand is actually a liability. And when demand isn't consistent, something subtle starts to happen. You stop making proactive decisions and you start making reactive ones. You're not steering anymore, you're responding. So what's this shift from control to reaction? At first, it's small. Maybe you delay a hire, or you hold off on a certain expense, or I don't know, maybe you push a decision into next month and you tell yourself, okay, I'm just being cautious. But over time, that caution turns into hesitation, and the hesitation, it's going to slowly replace your confidence as a business owner. And while you're still working hard, you're still capable, but mentally, unknowingly, something changes. You start managing around uncertainty instead of building through it and operating from that place of abundance and attraction. And the emotional cost of this is the part that most people don't talk about. Because of unpredictable cash flow, it doesn't just affect the business, it's going to affect you. Maybe that affects how you sleep or how you think or make specific decisions. It can even show up at home. And the tough thing is you might not even notice it at first. But you start checking your bank balance more often. You start watching expenses tighter. You start second guessing decisions that you wouldn't have questioned maybe a year ago. Trust me, I totally get it. I've been there. And you get to a point where you just, okay, I'm just going to wait and see. And slowly that confidence, it gets replaced by caution. Not because you're weak or, like I said, inexperienced business owner, but because that's what uncertainty does to people. So why am I telling you all this? And why does this hit harder when you're a business that's fully built out but doesn't have the flow? When you're small, slow periods can feel frustrating. And then you just work through it. But if you've already built out this infrastructure and there's a lot of overhead, this can actually feel threatening because that overhead doesn't scale down just because demand does. The more you invest in capacity, the less room you have for randomness. And what used to be manageable becomes stressful. And what used to feel exciting, that growth or an expansion and the reinvestment, it starts to feel heavy. So here's the truth that most business owners miss. The problem is rarely the quality of work. It's not the equipment or the crew. And most of the time, pretty much all the time, the operation's solid. The real problem is the business outgrew its visibility. You built this engine that got you to a certain point, but you didn't keep fueling the system. And engines without fuel, they don't fail loudly, they just stall. So why does this visibility matter more at this stage? Well, when you're small, visibility can be optional. There's maybe a few referrals, some word of mouth, a decent reputation. It starts get that ball rolling, and that'll work for a while. But once you scale your capacity, the visibility, it really becomes non-negotiable. Because now you're no longer just supporting yourself, you're supporting everything else, whether that's equipment payments, payroll, insurance. Whether you have different facilities that you need to take care of or fixed costs that are kind of baked into the business. And all these costs require a consistent flow of customers and leads that you can convert into customers. It's not luck or unpredictable referrals at this point. So when you're in that dangerous reliance on hope, this is where many business owners tend to get stuck. They tell themselves things like, okay, it's fine. Things will pick back up, or spring will be better, or we just need a few good weeks. And, I totally get it. Sometimes, in my experience, sometimes they're right. But hope marketing, it's not a strategy. And when your business depends on that, you're not in control of the business. You're actually exposed. So I want to give you this little self-assessment to take to heart. Let me ask you, and look at this honestly. If demand for your business doubled tomorrow, could your operation handle it without breaking down or without having stress? Okay, you got that? Now let's flip that question. If work slowed down for another 60 or 90 days, how would that feel financially? Would it feel manageable or would it feel tight? Be honest with yourself. Are you relying solely on referrals and repeat customers more than you'd like to admit? If you answered any of those questions and it made you feel kind of uncomfortable, that's not a coincidence. And I want to talk about why this stage is so easy to ignore. The reason this phase can be so dangerous is because it doesn't feel like a crisis. There's like nothing immediately on fire. You're still working. You have some jobs. You're still landing some customers. You're surviving. But survival, that's not the same thing as stability or growth. And stability is what protects you when conditions change. So I want to propose the shift from more work to consistent flow. This is where a lot of conversations go wrong, because most people jump straight to the just, we need more leads. And that's fine, but more leads isn't the real goal. Consistency is. Consistency lets you plan. Consistency lets you hire confidently. Consistency lets you stop reacting and start deciding based on real data. And consistency is what turns a fully built out operation into one that you're in control of financially, time, and everything to grow. So we're not going to talk about just more leads in a generic sense. We're not just going to talk about tactics for the sake of tactics. We're talking about how to protect a business that's already invested heavily in, like I mentioned, the equipment, the crews, things like that, and how to create that consistency so the operation that you built actually works for you instead of against you. So if you're a fully built out main service business, the real question isn't whether you can do more work. So if you're a fully built out home service business, the real question isn't whether you can do more work. It's how long can you afford to wait for it to just show up on its own? And that's exactly what we unpack together when we work together. So if this video hit a little too close to home, your next step is simple. It's a short strategy call where we're going to take a look at your current setup, your capacity, cash flow reality, and see whether this predictable lead flow actually makes sense for your business. There's no pressure. It's just about getting that clarity so that we can determine what that strategy is so that you build that consistency. So if this video hit close to home, in the description, there's a link to book your free call. I'd be happy to hop on and we can take a look at this. If you resonated with this video, make sure to like it, subscribe to my page. We're going to be dropping more tips like this for business owners on how to grow. And make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.